So I've noticed that a lot of people talk about stuff that they have absolutely no knowledge about, and men do it more often than women, and they do it much more confidently. And I hate to apologize, but since this is social media, I have to give you this disclaimer. I am not talking down or discriminating against anyone. I am sharing my own personal experience and an opinion based on that. So that out of the way, hi, I'm Zita Bano and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about mansplaining and the book that popularized this very term. Mansplaining is when a man is explaining anything to a woman in a condescending and overconfident manner, often interrupting her and cutting her short. One of the most important things that us people do not value is words. If you don't know a word, you cannot explain a feeling. For example, if you don't know the word gaslighting, you cannot explain, not to yourself, not to anybody else, that you are being gaslit. Similarly, if you don't know the word mansplaining, then you cannot explain what is happening to you and you cannot fend yourself. I'm going to share an incident that happened quite recently. So I think of myself as a well-read person. I think of myself as a person who has slightly more knowledge than an average person who doesn't read much. So what happened was that me and my peer, who happens to be a guy, we were talking about internal politics of our state. As I was building on my argument, I was interrupted and he started explaining something which I thought was historically incorrect. But what happened was that I started listening to him because I thought in my head that, what do I know? I have just read like 5-10 books on Pakistan history. Maybe what he is saying is right. Only after going back, I realized what I was thinking, what I was about to say was right. Anyway, the moral of the story is that most of us are subjected to mansplaining our entire lives, knowingly or unknowingly. Because first of all, most of us don't even understand in the moment that we are being mansplained. And secondly, because of societal conditioning, because we are constantly thinking that men know more than us, our heads are filled with these ideas which are completely absurd. And thirdly, and most importantly, both the invisibility and acceptability of this problem. Mansplaining and mantrupting is completely invisible to the society. Like, they can't even see that women are talking and they are being interrupted. They are being mansplained. They don't even see it. And some woke people who see it, who know it, they accept it as a norm. So that's why this term is extremely important, because it makes a problem visible. Now let's talk about the book that popularized this term, Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. And let me take a deep breath, because this book is disappointing, and I say this with heavy heart because I wanted to like this book so much. You have no idea. You cannot have any idea how much I wanted to like this book, but I was just unable to, and it literally breaks my heart and gives me pain. The very essay that popularized the term mansplaining felt like more of an excerpt from a story, not even a complete story. It did not feel like an essay at all. The crux of it was that Rebecca Solnit was talking about something and she was mantrupted and she was mansplained. I mean, the Oxford Dictionary's meaning of mansplaining has more depth in it than the very essay that popularized the term. Then the next chapter, The Longest War, was just a bunch of events crammed together, ending with a flat-out statement. Statements like, violence doesn't have a race, a class, or a religion, or a nationality, but it does have a gender. Can you explain it to me? Can you tell me why? Can you give me an historical analysis, any logical reasoning? Can you give me any of that? This chapter was an incident, a fact, and a flat-out statement. Next chapter, Words Collide in a Luxury Suit, was even more disappointing, because I firmly believe that this chapter fell into the domain of international relations. Rebecca Solnit spoke about IMF, its economic assaults, and Strauss-Kahn rape case. And I was so disappointed, because if you are going in that domain, you can explain so much. You can explain the disenfranchisement of women by state and non-state actors such as IMF, instead of writing the headlines of this case that we have already read in newspapers. IR feminists have done a great job in explaining the subjugation and oppression of women by subjects of international law, and I was expecting the same, but I was just disappointed. I can go on and on about what I did not like in this book, but the only thing that I liked in this book was Woolf's Darkness. There is a chapter on Virginia Woolf, and I don't think that it was remotely related to feminism, but it was more of a literary critique, and I really enjoyed the chapter because, first of all, I am obsessed with this woman Virginia Woolf. Anything about her I have already read. I have read her books and I have read articles about her, so I would not like to give writer any credit here, because anything on Virginia Woolf, I already like it and I would love to read it. Other than that, I have nothing nice to say about this book. And again, I think I have used the word disappointment so many times in this video, but I would like to use it again to make a point here. I was so disappointed by this book. Do I recommend this book? So if you want to know what happened in the past 2 decades that shaped feminist narrative, you want to know the incidents and not any arguments and not any explanation of those incidents, just the incidents, then I think you should read this book. Otherwise, if you are someone who views this word with feminist lens, let alone feminist lens, if you are a woman who watches news and who knows what is happening across the globe, then I don't think you will get anything from this book at all. You will be disappointed by this book just like I am, because this book is generic, this book is extremely basic and simplistic. And that's all. See you next time. Take care of yourself.